So long as like Alchemy.
Look at that. Ooh-wee.
In last night's Thunder Nuggets game, towards the end of the third quarter, a little kid went and touched Russell Westbrook. He was standing courtside with his family. And I know Russ plays like an animal, but kid, this ain't a zoo. But I thought it was a cool moment actually from Russ, kind of showing some perspective here, because he was hot, he was mad, right? And then he realized it was a little kid and he talked to him as such, right? And I think it kind of shows that Westbrook does flip a switch on the court. He plays, it's a facade when he's on the court, but off, he's probably a good dude, right? And then you see Mike Malone checking on him. He's like, somebody get the kid a beer. All right, next up, the New York Knicks have won 2 in a row. Spike Lee, I'm sure he ain't happy about it. But what about this kid, Mitchell Robinson? 4 blocks in a sequence of 40 seconds. And he's a new age shot blocker because he can switch out on the perimeter and get these. So he's very raw offensively, but he is a nice young talent that you would hope if you're a Knicks fan that they'll hold on to and try to mold, because DeAndre's not going to stay there. I don't care what y'all say with this KD talk. DeAndre, he's no longer a max player. There he is getting Aaron Gordon on jump shots. And like I said, the new age shot blockers, it's a little different. Yes, you want to protect the rim, but it's more about closing out on the perimeter in today's 3-centric league. And then last but not least, nothing on the NBA, but this shit had me like, good Lord, where they doing this at? What dorm is this at? Yeah, that just happened. I like dude's face in the hoodie though. Dude's face in the hoodie at the end, it's almost like he just seen a big booty, right? Like he's like, ooh, right? But who even thinks to do that? Crazy. All right, to the meat of this. What did we learn from last night's games? And the first takeaway I got is, take a look at these 2 breakaway dunks here. One from Kawhi and then one from Paul George. And this is why Kawhi is now a New Balance shoe representative. And Paul George has probably the hottest basketball sneaker that Nike puts out at this point. Right? So his uncle and these people can complain all they want about not getting the money from Jordan and not being marketable. Well, Kawhi, maybe put a little sauce on your breakaway dunk. Now, I'll touch on this blowout a little bit later in the video, but let me throw this out here. Is Kawhi load management and resting because he truly is experiencing pain in the quad and he's worried about it and he wants to rest? Or is it really just showing a lack of commitment to this Toronto Raptors franchise? And he's just saving his legs for Bomber in Los Angeles. Pause. Anyway, what else did we learn on this Tuesday night in the NBA? I'll tell you what I learned, man. The Joker's for real. And some of you are probably like, duh, Alk, what you talking about? We knew he was for real, man. But it was extremely impressive to watch him pass out of double teams and help defense. He might be the best passer out of traps and doubles that I've ever seen from a big man. And I know I'm not the first to make that claim, but I think the real key was the 4 3-pointers he made. We know how he can operate deep in the paint and how he can pass from the high elbow. But if he can score from all 3 levels and shoot the 3-ball accurately, then a big physical guy like Adams is no longer really an ideal matchup going up against him. I also like that Malone put the ball in his hands late to close things out and secure the game. I thought it was a statement. With all their guards, it was like, no, this is the Joker's team. The other little secret out of this game, I don't know if you Thunder fans paying attention, but Thunder seem to go on runs when Westbrook sits down. Now, Paul George took a lot of difficult shots and somehow he started to knock them down late. You see Schroeder with the 3, but it seems like whenever Russ sits down, whether it be foul trouble or just rest, the Thunder, are they better with Schroeder at the point and Paul George just running things? The other thing that I want to shout out is Isaiah Thomas. This is the first time I've seen him play in like 2 years. He's definitely not as quick, but how about 11 points in 15 minutes? The dude still gets buckets. Obviously, he's a liability on the defensive end, but for a microwave scorer, you see him finding ways to get it done, and it just adds to the depth of this Denver team. I don't know if you've seen Michael Porter Jr. putting out little highlight reels. If they could ever get him healthy, look out, man. Look out. Not that he's a superstar, but he looks like a legit stretch big. But I think the real key here is, Paul Millsap's making $30 million a year. And you see here with 12 and 10, he had a couple of big plays down the stretch, some offensive rebounds, some block shots. And you know what he's really adapted into is the Al Horford role, right? The numbers don't do him justice, but he truly is the X factor for this young Nuggets team, really being the only guy with any experience.
That Kyrie's gone. that Kyrie Irving will not be in Boston next year. That's the first thing that jumped to my mind.
All right, let's talk a little bit about this thumping that happened up north in the first game of this doubleheader last night. My first takeaway was from the Raptors, is Jeremy Lin and Marc Gasol the best 1-2 punch off the bench in the league right now? Like they're just such smart players, both so physical. Gasol looks rejuvenated. You know what I'm saying? And then Kyle Lowry, he's like the point guard Draymond Green, right? It's like, how is this chubby nigga doing this, right? It's just, he just continues to perform. He was hitting threes, Serge there to match Horford, and Boston just never stood a chance, right? And, you know, to me, we've talked about the chemistry issues all season. Everybody, it's well publicized. But I'm going to highlight three guys. I think it's Kyrie, Jaylen Brown, and Terry Rozier. Those three in particular, I feel like are playing for themselves and have agendas. And this is, mind you, I'm not a Celtics fan. I don't watch every game. But from the outside looking in, I think it's those three that are the chemistry busters. My other thoughts from this game is, man, you talk about the Kawhi trade this summer. You know what may have been the biggest mistake in the Kawhi trade? Danny Green, right? Like Danny Green is only like 32, 33 years old. And I think the Spurs thought he was done because he was hurt last year. He is an absolute 3-and-D monster for this Raptors team. Let's listen to this bitch.
Brad talked about just defensively, you guys have been taking shortcuts. So do you see that, and how do you guys fix things like that at this point of the season, do you feel like?
I don't know, it's up to Brad. Marcus said that you guys aren't playing together. Is that a fair diagnosis? It's Marcus' opinion. Is it yours?
The writing is on the wall with both Durant and Kyrie, right? And so, you know what I got to thinking was, Anthony Davis is, man, he really is a superstar. You know why? Because he is the only man to single-handedly destroy the Lakers and Celtics in one season. But you know what I'm saying, right? Like all this turmoil, this trade talk, the way the media is covering things, you know, it's going to alter the course of the history of the NBA and how these teams are formed. And so, you know, the one thing I will point out about this Kyrie thing and the way he's handled this and how it's just been ugly, even Celtic fans, you know, like Bill Simmons is sick of the dude, right? The biggest Homer Celtics fan of all time is sick of Kyrie. And I just wonder if KD is making note of this, right? Because it's like, okay, you want to go to New York, you want to team up with your buddy. Are you watching this? Are you watching this? Right? So I don't know if that's an ideal matchup, but either way, I'm excited, man. I'm excited that these games are starting to matter now. The final home stretch of the regular season and into the playoffs, and we've got quite a bit of playoff races going, you know, in both conferences. It's highly competitive and there's a lot of storylines. So if you've peeped this new style of video last night in the NBA, well, whenever we've got marquee matchups in a bunch of games, you can expect one of these videos the next day giving you breakdowns in a style that only Alchemy can give you. So, you know, if you're new to the channel or you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell. Some of this stuff's gonna be time sensitive, right? You're not gonna wanna go back 2 weeks and see this stuff. So be sure to click the video when you get the notification. And I guess I gotta hit my sign off. I've already told you to, but you know the deal. Hit the like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.
So long as like alchemy.